Hey everybody, Carson from Pursuit. I'm back with another episode of Pursuit On. Today we're going to be talking about earning my spot. All right, we get a lot of questions, or not questions, I guess. Just this is part of what we experience a lot. As coaches and managers in this business, you get a lot of questions. You field a lot of questions from players about where do you see me in the lineup, and what do you expect me to, be on your team next year? What role do you expect me to have? You ask a lot of questions, or you field a lot of questions that you feel like you can't really truly answer. At least that's the way I feel. And I think that's why a lot of times too, where coaches will come up with an answer, or managers will come up with an answer to satisfy or satiate the appetite of that question for the time being, just for that immediate second. And then players feel a little bit betrayed because things don't always work out exactly, as they're portrayed. And that's not necessarily always the fault of the coach, I don't think. I think a lot of that has to do with just they're getting asked questions they don't necessarily have the answers to, so they come up with something on the spot that, is good for that moment, but in the long run, it can bite you a little bit. So I think this video is more for the purpose of letting you know what you can do, if this happens to you, how you might be able to approach this situation with a coach or with a tryout or whatever. So if a coach gives you an opportunity, maybe they're not quite willing to sign you, maybe they are. Sometimes that happens too. In the off season, you get offered a card, offered to sign with a junior team or pro team or whatever level you're at. But sometimes you get offered outright in the summertime, right? You don't have to go to a tryout, you're offered. That's great. That's excellent when that happens. And those guys are very lucky, because that doesn't happen for every hockey player. And I think that's where a lot of these questions come from, because, players see their buddies signing, or they sign here, this, that, and it's very difficult for a young hockey player, teens, to differentiate where they're at, their own position objectively versus their friend, where coaches are just looking at it objectively. Okay, that hockey player fits what I need, I'll sign them. This other one, maybe I have to see more. So I think you really got to stop the comparison game as a player and just accept what the coach is telling you, or whoever is recruiting you at that time, manager, coach, scout, whatever. Just take it for what it's worth. Further to that, say a coach likes you, is interested, you've been having some discussions over the past year or 2 years or whatever it might be. That's a good thing if a coach is in contact with you at all, right? And then beyond that, if you get an opportunity to go to this camp, that's a great thing. Getting an opportunity to go to a main camp especially is a very good thing, I think. Invites to main camps. That's where it happens. The 25 best hockey players at a main camp, or 23 or 25, whatever your the rules are. Generally, that's how many players are kept out of camp. So if you get an opportunity to compete for one of those spots, that's something that's really valuable, and I think is not valued as much in this day and age as it used to be. Just the opportunity to compete. A lot more people look now for a promise or some kind of guarantee. I think maybe that has a lot to do with the money that's spent from parents and even players trying to play this game. So I think that's maybe another element to it that we have to recognize. However, still at the end of the day, it is an opportunity, and not every player gets an opportunity. Even better if we're lucky enough that in Sioux Lookout, we can offer our main camp for free and bring in players and give them that opportunity, and not have to have them pay a fee or anything to come to our camp. Obviously, they got to pay their way to get here. That's just part of it. But we're not making money on the backs of hockey players that might potentially not be here in the future, right? These guys are taking their opportunity, coming here to take their chances and try to make a hockey team. And we're as an organization putting the kids up, and I think that's an honorable thing to do, because what happens too, and what has happened, I guess, in hockey, especially the past few years, we've seen prices soar, and this camp, that camp, pre-draft camp, midsummer camp, spring camps, fall, there's so many camps you can go to now, and showcases and all this stuff, and it's really tough to wade through what's valuable and what's not. I think the value is always, if you're having fun and getting better, that's always value in that. But aside from what is valuable to progressing your career, if you're talking to a coach and getting an opportunity at a main camp or signed outright, I think those are the areas you should invest your time in, right? Not necessarily always going to the next showcase to maybe get seen or whatever. that's great. If you haven't been talking to anybody, of course, you got to get in front of someone. But if you've already been talking to someone, I think always looking over the hedges at what might be better or whatever is not always the best thing to do, right? Look at the people that are interested in you, that are giving you the time of day, and really lean into that, and take the opportunities for what they're worth. Don't prod and poke and look for more information sometimes than what coaches are willing to offer, and that's got to be part of your own recognition too, right? Being able to understand, maybe I'm pushing the button a little too hard, maybe not, whatever. And like I've mentioned before in this series, that's kind of why having an advisor can be useful too, right? That's been through some of this, had these discussions, maybe knows a coach or a GM or has relationships within the hockey world that just understands maybe some of the things, the do's and don'ts, right? But I guess the main message here, what I'm trying to get across is just always relish whatever opportunity you get, whether it's a tryout, whether it's a card, because even still, if you can sign a card in the off season, that's great. But you may show up to camp, and if you've not worked hard because you just signed a card and then stopped working hard, you can be cut. I mean, just because you signed a card means nothing in this game, especially at the junior level. Like, guys get sent home all the time. So do not be complacent. Complacency is evil. And yeah, just keep working hard. I mean, so I guess pursuit on my next step. Your next step is always just, hit the pavement, hit the grindstone, keep going. Your next step is always within, and stop worrying so much about promises, this, that, or whatever. You're the only person that can ultimately take yourself to wherever you want to go. It's not up to anybody else or any promise or anything that someone's going to tell you. You got to get on the ice and prove you can do it and produce. And that's it. Focus on you. Keep working hard. Appreciate you stopping by. We're checking things out again. Scholarship will be announced, I think, in about a week by the time this video comes out. So really pumped about that. Thanks for being a part of it. Bye.